A crack is defined as a line on the surface of something along which it's split without breaking. Okay, now the growth of a crack is about when that split starts to widen and lengthen and increase on that surface. So the growth of a crack can be attributed to one or more factors. So usually things like an additional load, an additional pressure, heat stresses, the contraction like heat and cold, lots of things, that repetitive kind of pressure off. Lots of things can make the growth of a crack happen. Now, what's the difference between a crack and something that compacts? Compact is defined as closely and neatly packed together, where under pressure it can become more firmly together, dense and stable. Now, why am I talking about compacting and cracking? Well, I was walking along the beach at home recently yes, it is winter here, that's why I'm rugged up in scarves and things, but I was walking along the beach one day and noticed we get these gorgeous little air pockets just under the surface where the tide's going out and the waves are coming in and going out, but it's not quite dried and compacted heaps yet. We get these little air pockets. There's no critters under it. It's just air pockets under the sand. And I remember as a kid going along, and kind of popping them. You put your foot on it and it would push the sand down. It was like this, and I loved it. I love it. And I still do it. Yes, I'm just a big kid. But I was doing it recently and playing with the difference with how much pressure I applied, how quick I applied the pressure, what kind of things which either made it like compact more or actually crack. And I was thinking about that as I was walking along the beach. What is it as humans? What is it in the kind of pressure that we're exposed to, that way that pressure is applied? All of that can determine if we actually crack or if we compress. And that compressing, that compacting where we get stronger and more stable is a better option than actually cracking. So I thought I'd just have a bit of a chatter around. I'm all about living from a place of prevention. And over the years, I'm as human as the next person, but I've learned ways, simple things that I've noticed I can do in my life to help me not crack as easily, to have a firmer base to be able to deal with life. So I'm compacting, I'm compressing, becoming more stable versus being that air pocket that just cracks really easily if too much pressure is applied too fast. The amount of pressure and how fast it is applied determines a lot whether something is going to crack or not. But what I also know is if we've got a nice solid base to build from, there's less chance. So our default will go to compress, to compact, versus our default going to actually cracking and losing it emotionally. And I've worked out there's just a couple of ways, a couple of things that I've naturally learned to do over the years. No one taught me. It's just how I've learned how to take on life. So I guess they are things that I've learned over the years. They're things whether I've read them in books or heard people say, and I've taken them on as ways of being to see how it influenced my life. And the very first one is from one of my mentors, David T.S. Wood, and he talks about no story, no problem. And I've talked about it in previous episodes of my podcast, but this is a big one for me. So when something happens, and it doesn't matter how small it is or how big it is, I naturally default nowadays 99% of the time. I really mean 99% of the time. I've been living this way for more than 10 years with this belief that, no story, no problem. Because it's like there's an event, something happens, and there's just the facts that like your car ran into another car. That's it. It's just, that's the facts. Then there's a story we apply to it. Oh, I nearly died. Well, no, you didn't. The fact is the car ran into that car. You may have had some injuries, but that's it. The story is that, oh, I nearly died, which then creates a negative problem that we get locked in that story. And whenever we catch up with someone, it's like, oh, you said yesterday in the car, I nearly died. Instead of going, hey, just had an accident, all good. That's it. And not reliving and going through it over and over and over, because the more that we do that, the more we lock that into our psyche, the more we lock that in that it's a problem. And I choose to have less problems in life. And I want to compact and compress in life. I want to become stable versus reactive and crack. So no story, no problem. Doesn't matter what it is. And start with the little things. It's like something doesn't quite go to plan. This morning I went surfing and it was freezing cold, rainy day. Yet I caught deliciously gorgeous, clean winter waves and no crowd because it was such a cold, rainy day. And it's like, it's either we lock in, I could lock in that, went surfing this morning and it pissed down rain and it was freezing cold and it's taken me hours to warm up since. And it's like, event, went surfing in the rain and the cold, at sunrise. The story can either be, it pissed down rain, it was horrible, blah, 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 or it can be, I went surfing this morning and I caught a couple of absolutely cracker, super clean, super green waves that I absolutely nailed and I had a blast. Which one do you want to live into? Do you want to live into the one where you're cracked and stuck in this negative groove? Or do you want to just go, focusing on the positives and keep moving forward in life? I know which one I like. Now, it takes time to learn this, but every time, how I've done it over the years is any time that I've gone to default back to the story, I just shut up and don't keep going through it on my head or sharing it with someone else. Just nip it in the bud. That's the place to start. Okay, so no story, no problem. That's a big way that I've learned to compact instead of crack. I've built a stronger base to default to. And then the second one is focus on what you can control. And I do this with adaptogens and my attitude. So adaptogens, I've talked all about adaptogen herbs being the class of herbs that we use as naturopaths that help our body adapt to stress. Okay, so physically, my body doesn't go into alarm mode and reactive mode as faster as it did in the past, in my younger years, when I stressed out and burned out all the time. And today, and really for the last 30 years, I've been the biggest fan of adaptogen herbs. They are a class of herbs. There's not one adaptogen that's the magic fix all. They are a class of herbs that we use that help our body adapt to stress. So I'll put a link to the adaptogen tonic that I take every day. You can check it out in the show notes, nice and easy. But come from a place of prevention. Don't wait to crack. Get your body again more stable hormonally, more stable physically, so that it can compact and compress versus crack. So that's adaptogens. And then the other one is our attitudes, which is really that I just talked about, the no story, no problem. And choosing to see the good in what life is. It's a conscious choice. We can all focus on what's not worked for us in our lives in the past, or we can choose to focus on all the little things that we're grateful for and that bring joy into our life. And it's the little things some days, but all of those little things really add up and they bring us a juicy life or a sucky life. What we think about, we bring about. What we think about, we bring about. The more we think about what's not working for us in life, the more chance we've got of cracking, while we keep being grateful for what we're and building layers and layers and layers. We're able to compact and compress and be stable, and that our attitude is going to default, because that's what it's about, is that we're in this alkaline corridor the majority of the time. Our body's working with us. We're dealing with life. Yahoo, off we go. But when things come to the crunch, it's like we're going to get kicked outside the alkaline corridor. That's a reality. Okay, now as a naturopath, that's cool. What we care about is how quick you bounce back in. Okay, so if you've got your body physically in a place where hormonally you're able to adapt to stresses, that's cool. That's going to help you, compress, compact, be stable, all good. Or if you're flighty, you've got more chance of cracking and going off. I choose to come from prevention, use my adaptogen herbs. I choose to build on all the little gratitudes and all the little things that are working for me on a day-to-day basis. My partner and I, we start and end the day with, consciously crafting and being grateful for what our day is right from the start. The first words we say to each other, we have a little verse that we share, and one again as we go to bed at night or to sleep at night. Like, it's the first and last thing we do every day. We absolutely consciously come from that place of gratitude, and it makes a difference. Our attitude totally helps to influence whether we're going to compact or whether we're going to crack. The healthy life hacks for this episode are really simple. One, if you're not already taking adaptogen herbs, take them. I'll put a link in the show notes. Go and check out the one I take. I don't care if you take that one or go and find something else. But don't let someone sell you one adaptogen herb and say this is it, because adaptogens, they're a whole class of herbs, and you need a range of them to have your body deal with all the areas it will come up against and have all your body systems supported. So that's one, adaptogen herbs. Our attitude, check it in. Are you doing gratitudes of a day? Are you focusing on the things that are working for you instead of against you? Start there. They're simple. And then the other one is no story, no problem. No story, no problem. No story, no problem. No story, no problem. The next time anything, I don't care. Good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, something happens, just stick to the facts. Just the facts. Just the facts. Not, oh, I nearly died, or nearly drama, or, oh, that could have happened, or poor me, or no. Just the facts. I say to myself in my brain, just the facts, Jen, just the facts. And I bring myself back to center. Boom. Okay, you're going to get kicked out of that alkaline corridor every day. You can control how quick you bounce back in. These are ways that I've been able to have myself to be able to compact, compress, and be more stable than cracking like I did years ago. And I hope you find them of value too. Remember to check out the show notes. Go over to www.healthylifehacks.com.au and you'll be able to check out that link to the adaptogen tonic that I use. See you guys.